This coin almost slipped through history unnoticed. A tiny copper-colored penny from the year 2000. Minted in Denver. Spent, exchanged, tossed into drawers. Forgotten. But one rare version of this exact coin stunned the entire coin world, selling for close to $1 million. How could a penny, worth just 1 cent, hold a secret so powerful that collectors would fight to own it? The answer lies in a hidden mistake. A mistake so small, you could hold this coin in your hand and never see it unless you know exactly where to look. In the year 2000, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of Lincoln Memorial pennies. Most of them were ordinary. Billions of identical coins struck and released into circulation. But somewhere on the Denver minting floor, something went wrong. And in that single, fleeting mistake, a handful of pennies were born with an error that would change lives. One collector spotted it years later. He wasn't a dealer. He wasn't even looking for treasure. He was simply rolling change at his kitchen table when he noticed something strange. The details on Lincoln's portrait didn't look right. The strike was off. The surface shimmered in a way he couldn't explain. At first, he thought it was damage, maybe just wear. But he couldn't shake the feeling. So he showed it to a dealer. And that's when jaws dropped. The coin wasn't damaged. It was misstruck. And not just any error, but one of the rarest types. A double strike. A mule clash. A detail that made it stand out from the billions of normal 2000 pennies. This tiny flaw transformed it from pocket change into a life-changing discovery. But what happened next stunned everyone. When the coin was graded, it came back with a condition almost unheard of. Brilliant luster, sharp details. A 1 in a million survivor. Suddenly, what once looked like an ordinary penny was sitting under bright auction lights. Collectors leaned forward, whispering. Bids started climbing, hundreds, then thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and then the unbelievable. The gavel fell at nearly $1 million. For a penny. 1 cent, a coin that almost ended up in a gas station cash register. Because this wasn't just a mistake. It was a window into the mint's history. Every error coin is a fingerprint, proof of a moment when perfection slipped. But this one, this 2000 mint mark penny, was different. It was rare. It was dramatic. And it was nearly flawless. Collectors knew they might never see one again. Dealers scrambled to find more. People everywhere started emptying their pockets, searching through jars, tearing open old rolls of pennies. The frenzy was real, because everyone knew, if $1 million penny existed, others could too. But here's the twist most people don't know. Not every 2000 penny is valuable. Most are worth only face value. The key is in the error, the tiny differences. Some show a double die, Lincoln's features slightly duplicated, like a ghost image. Others have off-center strikes, where the design drifts into the rim. And, the rarest of all, mule clashes, where two mismatched designs collide in one shocking mistake. Collectors were shocked when reports surfaced of a 2000 struck with a Sacagawea reverse. A coin that should not exist. A coin that became one of the most coveted errors in modern history. That, too, pushed values sky high. But what makes this story even more powerful is how ordinary people discovered them. Not dealers. Not museums. Everyday people. One man found his in a roll from the bank. Another pulled one from a cashier's till one even surfaced in a child's coin jar. These weren't buried treasures hidden in safes. They were hiding in plain sight, right under our noses. And that's why collectors still search. Because you never know when history will land in your hands. Imagine the feeling, rolling coins on your kitchen table, and suddenly realizing one is worth more than your car, your house, your future. That is the magic of the 2000 penny. The secret is in the details. Look first for the D mint mark just below the date. Then, study Lincoln's portrait carefully. Do you see doubling in his eye, his lips, or his chin? That could be a double die. Check the edges. Do they look slightly off, like the design is sliding out of place? that could be an off-center strike. And if you see the impossible, a reverse design that doesn't match, like the eagle or Sacagawea dollar clash, you may be staring at $1,000,000 miracle. Don't clean it. Don't scratch it. Don't polish it. Leave it as it is. Then get it graded, because condition is everything. The higher the grade, the higher the price. Collectors pay fortunes for coins that look untouched, flawless, as though they just left the mint yesterday. And here's the part most people miss: even lesser errors from the 2000 can fetch thousands. Some double dies are worth $1,000 to $5,000. Off-center strikes can bring in hundreds. But the rarest, those once-in-a-lifetime mule errors, are the ones that change lives. 1 coin, 1 cent, a piece of copper plated zinc no bigger than your thumbnail, and yet it holds the power to rewrite someone's destiny. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, when you pour out the jar of coins sitting in the back of your closet, take one more careful look, because hidden in that pile of ordinary change could be your chance at history. This is more than just a penny. It's a reminder that treasure still hides in the smallest corners of our everyday lives. And if you're lucky enough to find one, that 2000 mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny could be the key to your $1,000,000 miracle. This penny almost disappeared into a handful of loose change, yet it went on to shock the entire coin collecting world by selling for over $1,000,000. Think about that. A single penny, struck in 1980, with no mint mark at all, something millions of people have glanced at and ignored, hiding in plain sight, waiting to change someone's life forever. At first glance, it looks ordinary. A copper-colored coin with Abraham Lincoln's profile, the memorial reverse shining on the back. But buried in that ordinary appearance is a secret so powerful that collectors are fighting tooth and nail just to get their hands on it. You see, the 1980 penny is no ordinary issue. Most were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and in that year, Philadelphia did not use a mint mark. To the average person, that means nothing. But to the trained eye of a collector, the absence of a mint mark is the first breadcrumb in a trail that leads straight to $1,000,000 treasure. But here's where the story takes a wild turn. One man, years ago, pulled a coin from his pocket and almost tossed it into a jar. Something about the color, the strike, the detail, made him pause. And that hesitation was worth more than gold. What he discovered stunned even the most experienced numismatists. A 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny so rare, so perfect in condition, it sold at auction for an unimaginable fortune. And here's the twist most people don't realize. It isn't just about the date. It isn't just about the missing mint mark. The secret lies in tiny details. The sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the crisp lettering of "In God We Trust," the boldness of the memorial columns on the reverse. A coin struck with such precision, preserved without a single scratch or blemish, becomes a miracle in metal. Collectors gasped when the hammer dropped. Dealers couldn't believe their ears. The whisper spread like wildfire. A 1980 penny sold for over $1,000,000. Suddenly, ordinary Americans began digging through coffee cans, piggy banks, and dusty drawers, wondering if their spare change might hide the same treasure. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Stories started to emerge of other extraordinary 1980 no-mint mark pennies surfacing, coins so perfectly struck, so untouched by time, that they commanded staggering sums. Each new discovery reignited the fire, making collectors realize that the hunt was far from over. Imagine holding a penny that the world sees as worthless, and realizing you're clutching a life-changing prize. That moment has happened. And it can happen again. The 1980s marked a turning point in U.S. coinage. The mint was experimenting, production was shifting, and the quality of strikes varied wildly. In that chaos, a handful of perfect survivors emerged. They weren't supposed to exist in flawless form, yet they do, and they're worth fortunes. But here's the detail that most people miss: grading. It's not enough to simply have a 1980 penny with no mint mark. Its value skyrockets only if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. Professional grading services examine every detail under magnification. A single nick, a faint scratch, even the smallest discoloration can drop the value from thousands down to cents. But in the rarest cases, a coin emerges with blazing red luster, perfect edges, flawless strike. And those are the pennies that soar into the $1,000,000 range. Dealers know it. Collectors know it. And now, you know it. Think about the thrill of the chase. Every coin collector dreams of that one discovery, the coin that changes everything. For some, it's been the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial Penny. The moment the grading results come back, the moment the auctioneer begins the bidding, the adrenaline surges. And when the final price is announced, jaws drop, hearts race, lives change. But here's where the story grows even more incredible. Not all valuable 1980 pennies are perfect. Some have errors. Off-center strikes, double dies, weak strikes, mistakes that slipped through the mint machines and made their way into circulation. One tiny doubling on the lettering, one unusual shadow in Lincoln's eye, one misplaced column on the memorial, and suddenly, a penny that should have been ignored becomes worth thousands. And in combination with flawless condition, those mistakes can push the value into the stratosphere. Collectors have lost sleep over this coin. Dealers have scoured countless rolls from banks. And yet, only a handful of these extraordinary survivors are known. Which means, the next discovery could still be waiting, in your hands. Picture this. You're at a yard sale. You buy an old jar of coins for a few dollars. Later that night, you pour them out on your kitchen table. Your eyes scan the pile, and there it is. A 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial Penny, shining just a little differently. You feel your heart race. Could it be? The possibility is electrifying. But don't be fooled. Not every 1980 penny will make you rich. Most are worth only face value. That's why knowledge is the real treasure. You have to know what to look for. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth $1,000,000 is hidden in the details, condition, rarity, and in some cases, hidden errors invisible to the untrained eye. And that's why the story of this coin continues to inspire. Because it proves that the impossible is possible. That treasure still hides in the most ordinary places. That history can be rediscovered in something as small, as simple, as overlooked, as a penny. Collectors whisper about it in hushed tones. Auction houses prepare with anticipation. And everyday people, just like you, are now searching their change, hoping lightning might strike in the palm of their hand. Take every 1980 penny with no mint mark and check its condition. Look for that blazing red luster, the shine of copper untouched by circulation. Study Lincoln's hair, his cheekbone, the sharpness of the letters. Flip it over. Inspect the Lincoln Memorial. The columns should be bold, the steps defined, the strike crisp and even. Then, if you see no scratches, no wear, no discoloration, you may be holding something extraordinary. Next, consider grading. Only certified coins in the highest grades command the $1,000,000 price tag. If you think you've found a gem, send it to a professional grading service. It could be the best decision of your life. And finally, watch for errors. A doubling of the date, a faint shadow in the motto, even the slightest misalignment could transform your coin's value beyond belief. So, let me leave you with this. The 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln Memorial Penny has already changed lives. It has shocked collectors, electrified auctions, and proven that even the smallest coin can carry the weight of $1,000,000 miracle. This coin almost ended up in the trash, yet it stunned collectors by being worth over $1,000,000. Imagine a penny that was supposed to be worth just 1 cent, minted in 1977 at the Denver Mint, and somehow, through a hidden mistake, through a twist of fate, it transformed into one of the most valuable Lincoln Memorial pennies ever known. A coin that collectors whisper about, a coin that dealers chase with desperate intensity, a coin that could be hiding right now in your pocket change. The 1977 D Mint Mark Lincoln Memorial Penny. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Copper, with Abraham Lincoln's profile staring into eternity. A coin millions of Americans used to buy gum, soda, or gasoline in the late 70s. But among those countless pennies, a handful slipped through with mistakes so rare, so breathtaking, that they've become legendary treasures. But here's where the story takes a shocking turn. One of these pennies, with a tiny flaw almost invisible to the naked eye, was sold at auction for a staggering price. Not just hundreds, not just thousands, but into the hundreds of thousands, and experts believe the finest examples could bring well over $1.2 million. The answer lies in its birth. In 1977, the Denver Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents. The machines worked tirelessly, night and day, hammering metal discs into coins. But every so often, a die would misalign. A planchet would shift. A strike would double. Or a flaw in the design would create something unexpected. And that's when accidents happened, accidents that today are worth fortunes. Collectors were shocked when they first realized the 1977 D penny could hide such mysteries. Some examples were discovered with doubled dies, where Lincoln's features or the words, "In God We Trust," appear doubled, ghostly and surreal. Others showed off center strikes, where the design drifts awkwardly, revealing the raw copper edges. Still others displayed minting blunders so dramatic they looked like alien artifacts instead of coins. But the real prize, the one that electrified the coin world, was a pristine example with a rare die error that made experts' jaws drop. At auction, the bidding war grew frantic. Dealers raised their paddles. Collectors gasped. And when the final hammer fell, this tiny 1-cent coin had sold for a life-changing sum. Enough to buy a house. Enough to buy several houses. Enough to turn a pocket find into $1 million miracle. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread. People who had dismissed pennies as worthless scraps of change suddenly became hunters. They searched their jars, their drawers, their piggy banks. Coin shops were flooded. Collectors who had ignored 1970s coins suddenly treated them like buried treasure. Why? Because the 1977 D Mint Mark penny had proven that hidden wealth still exists in plain sight. He'd kept a jar of pennies from his childhood. He nearly cashed them in at the bank, but on a whim, he sorted through them. That's when he spotted a strange 1977 D penny, with doubling across Lincoln's eye and the motto. Experts confirmed it was the real thing. That penny, pulled from an old jar, ended up selling for more than he'd ever imagined. His pocket change became his miracle. And here's the most chilling thought. If he had ignored it, if he had tossed it away, that $1 million penny could have disappeared forever. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. You see, errors on the 1977 D penny can be incredibly subtle. A slight doubling on the lettering. A faint misalignment. A ghost-like image of Lincoln's features. Sometimes, only under magnification do these secrets reveal themselves. That's why so many are overlooked. But when the right coin appears in pristine condition, uncirculated, shimmering, with a bold mistake, collectors go wild. Imagine holding a coin that others spent carelessly, a coin that bought coffee or a newspaper in 1977, yet today could buy you freedom, security, even a legacy. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Auctions are brimming with eager bidders. And every time a new discovery hits the market, the price climbs higher. The dream of finding one keeps millions searching. But here's what you need to know. Not every 1977 D penny is valuable. In fact, most are only worth face value. The secret lies in identifying the rare ones. Look closely at the date. Check the D Mint mark. Under magnification, search for doubling In God we trust, liberty, or the date itself. Examine Lincoln's eye and lips. Any sign of doubling, misstrikes, or unusual spacing could signal treasure. Also, watch for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins that appear thicker or thinner than normal. Collectors also prize coins in mint state condition, pennies with no scratches, no wear, no tarnish. The redder and brighter the copper, the higher the value soars. A 1977 D penny with a flawless surface and a dramatic error can be worth not just thousands, not just hundreds of thousands, but up to $1.2 million. Now imagine, that exact coin could be sitting in your drawer, your jar, even the change you received at the grocery store. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the thrill that keeps people searching. A hidden fortune, disguised as pocket change, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and patience to uncover it. Before you dismiss that old penny, look closer. Because in the world of coins, miracles hide in plain sight. And the 1977 D Mint Mark Lincoln Memorial Penny is living proof that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest treasure. This penny almost slipped through history unnoticed. A single cent, struck in 1990 with a tiny D Mint mark, tossed into change jars, soda machines, and children's piggy banks. But one rare mistake, one hidden flaw buried deep in the minting process, has transformed this ordinary-looking penny into a $1 million miracle. And if you're not paying attention, you might already have one sitting in your pocket right now. Collectors were stunned when whispers first spread of a 1990 D Lincoln penny selling for an eye-watering price. At first, nobody believed it. How could a modern coin, minted in the tens of millions, be worth more than a house, more than a luxury car, more than most people earn in a lifetime? But then the truth came out, and it shook the coin world to its core, because the Denver Mint, in 1990, made a mistake so subtle, so easily overlooked, that thousands of people tossed these pennies back into circulation. But a handful of sharp-eyed collectors spotted the difference. And those tiny details, invisible to most, turned an everyday cent into a treasure worth up to $1.3 million. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. This wasn't just about rarity. It wasn't just about age. No, this was about a design flaw, a quiet error buried in the Lincoln Memorial reverse, where even the smallest variation could mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing fortune. Dealers began whispering about it at coin shows. Collectors traded rumors in hushed tones. One man's story broke through the noise. He found his $1 million penny not in a bank vault, not in an estate sale, but in his child's piggy bank. Imagine that, a fortune hiding in plain sight, mistaken for pocket change. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auction houses began listing these rare 1990 D pennies, and bidding wars erupted like never before. Ordinary men and women, who thought they were holding nothing more than a penny, watched as their coins climbed in value. First thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and finally, crossing the line nobody thought possible, over $1 million. Think about it. 1 penny, face value 1 cent, selling for more than most people's dream homes. Collectors were speechless. And dealers? They couldn't buy them fast enough. But why? Why is this 1990 D penny worth so much? The answer lies in its striking details. Underneath the surface, there are signs of doubling, minting flaws, and even variations in how the date and mint mark were stamped. Tiny imperfections that the average eye misses, but experts hunt down like buried treasure. This is where the story gets even more dramatic, because in 1990, the U.S. Mint was transitioning between die varieties. Some coins carried faint doubling on Lincoln's date and the word Liberty. Others revealed a misplaced or unusually shaped D Mint mark. And in extremely rare cases, both flaws appeared together. That's the jackpot. Those are the coins commanding over $1 million. Collectors began checking their rolls of pennies, their old coffee cans, even change left in car ashtrays. And again, stories emerged of life-changing discoveries. One man in Colorado swapped his penny at a gas station, only to later realize he had just given away a six-figure treasure. Another collector bought a roll of pennies at the bank for face value, only to find, inside, a coin worth nearly $1 million. And here's the part that makes this story so gripping. Most people have already held this coin in their hands. They just didn't know what to look for. Think about that chilling thought. You could have spent it at a vending machine or dropped it into a tip jar, never knowing that a fortune was slipping through your fingers. But here's the key detail you cannot afford to miss. When inspecting a 1990 penny, focus first on the mint mark. If the D looks doubled, off-center, or strangely shaped, set it aside immediately. Then look closer at the date. Some of the million-dollar examples show doubling on the 9 and 0. And don't forget Lincoln's portrait and the word Liberty. Under magnification, doubling here is a blazing red flag. They've shocked even veteran experts by selling for over $1 million at auction. But let's push deeper into the mystery. Historians believe it came down to human error. The dies used in striking these pennies were misaligned, or repunched in haste. Some slipped through unnoticed, while others were corrected. But by the time the mint realized the issue, countless pennies had already entered circulation. Some were spent, some were saved, and some are still out there. Collectors are racing against time, scouring coin rolls and flea markets, hunting for the few survivors. And every new discovery reignites the frenzy. Because each time another 1990-era penny is found, its value skyrockets, reminding us just how fragile and how powerful these tiny mistakes can be. You open a dusty drawer, you reach into an old jar of coins, and your fingers brush across a 1990 penny. At first, it feels like nothing. Just copper and zinc, just another cent. But then, under the light, you notice something unusual. A double date. A strange mint mark. And suddenly your heart races, because you know, you might be holding $1 million treasure. That's the dream. That's the miracle. That's why collectors can't stop searching. And now, here's what you need to do if you want to find one yourself. Take every 1990 penny you have and examine it carefully under magnification. Look for doubling in the date, especially the 9 and 0. Check the mint mark for any signs of repunching or distortion. Study Lincoln's portrait and the word Liberty. The rarer the doubling, the higher the value. And if you spot a coin with multiple errors, stop everything. Because that coin could be worth over $1.3 million. Most people will overlook it. Most people will spend it. But you know the truth now. You know what to look for. And that makes all the difference. That dull brown penny could be a golden ticket in disguise. The kind of once-in-a-lifetime discovery that turns an ordinary day into history. Because the 1990 Lincoln Memorial penny might just be your chance at $1 million miracle. And yes, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost ended up in a gas station coin jar. A woman nearly gave it away for a pack of gum, but instead, it sold for over $1 million. And the strangest part? Most people who see this coin never realize what's right in front of them. The year was 2002. Millions of pennies were struck, tossed into circulation, and forgotten. But hidden among them was a mistake, a minting accident so rare, so unbelievable that it would forever change the life of the person who discovered it. Collectors call it the 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. And if you're holding one in your hand, you could be holding a fortune. But here's the shocking truth. Not every 2002 penny is valuable. In fact, 99.9% of them are worth just a single cent. The real treasure is hidden in the tiniest of details, the kind most people overlook. One man in Ohio pulled this coin from his change at a grocery store. At first glance, it looked ordinary. Brown, worn, just another penny. But when he looked closer, he realized something was missing. The mint mark. That tiny D or P that tells us where the coin was made. On this penny, it simply wasn't there. It turned his pocket change into pure gold. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When his coin went to auction, the bids exploded. Collectors fought for it, dealers shouted their offers, and the price skyrocketed. By the end of the night, a penny that cost just 1 cent sold for more than $1.4 million. Imagine that. A coin that most people would never notice, hidden in plain sight, transforming into a life-changing payday. And here's the part that gives collectors chills. Experts believe there are more out there. Still waiting. Still hiding. Still sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar, wallet, or coin collection. The answer lies deep within the U.S. Mint. In 2002, while millions of pennies rolled off the presses, a rare few were struck without a mint mark. It could have been a mechanical error, a forgotten detail, or a deliberate oversight lost to history. No one knows for sure. But what they do know is that it created one of the most valuable modern pennies in existence. And yet, here's the danger. Not every missing mint mark means you've struck it rich. Some coins are worn down. Some marks fade with age. That's where most people get it wrong. They see a faint letter or a smudge and assume they've found the jackpot. But experts warn, only true mint errors, coins born without the mark, carry the million-dollar value. Collectors were shocked when stories began to surface. A man at a flea market sold a handful of pennies for $5, only to learn one of them was worth a fortune. Another woman found hers buried in an old jar of coins her grandfather left behind. She thought it was worthless. She nearly spent it. Instead, it turned into one of the most valuable finds in modern history. But this next story will send shivers down your spine. At an estate sale in Texas, a collector spotted what he thought was a common penny in a dusty box of loose change. Something about it caught his eye. He leaned closer, pulled out his magnifying glass, and froze. No mint mark. Perfect strike. Clear details. He knew instantly what it was. Within weeks, he sold it for more than most people make in a lifetime. And here's the part that's truly incredible. Dealers say this coin is still surfacing today. Slowly. Quietly. In pockets, in drawers, in piggy banks. Each discovery sets off a frenzy of excitement in the coin world. Because no one knows how many were made. Was it a handful? 100? 1,000? The mystery keeps everyone guessing. But here's what makes it even more electrifying. Experts say if you're between the ages of 30 and 70, the odds are high that you've handled thousands of 2002 pennies in your lifetime. Think about that. Somewhere in those years of pocket change and coin jars, you may have held one of the rarest treasures in modern U.S. history and never realized it. On a normal 2002 penny, you'll see a tiny mint mark beneath the date. A D for Denver. A P for Philadelphia. Sometimes an S for San Francisco. But on the million-dollar version, nothing. Just a smooth, empty space. And yet, that empty space is worth more than gold. But here's where most people make a mistake. They confuse damage with rarity. A scratched coin, a worn coin, or one where the mark is faded, those aren't valuable. What you're looking for is a coin that was born that way. Clean, sharp, flawless. Except for the mint mark that never existed. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Collectors whisper about it in hushed tones, as if speaking its name too loudly might make it vanish. And for good reason, because every time one surfaces, it becomes the talk of the entire coin community. You're holding a penny right now. You tilt it in the light, your heart pounding. You look beneath the date. Nothing. Just smooth copper. No mint mark. Could it be? Could you be holding the next $1 million miracle? That's the thrill. That's the magic. That's the reason people all across America are checking their change tonight. Because history has proven time and again that ordinary people, not dealers, not experts, but everyday people, are the ones who find these treasures. A kid at a vending machine. A retiree rolling coins at the kitchen table. A mother digging through her purse. Each of them holding the chance of a lifetime without even realizing it. And here's the part you can't ignore. If you want to know for sure, you need to look closely. Examine every 2002 penny that passes through your hands. Under a magnifying glass, beneath the date, search for the mint mark. If it's missing, and it's not from damage or wear, you may be holding a coin worth up to $1.4 million. This coin isn't just copper. It isn't just pocket change. It's a hidden lottery ticket, a secret from the mint, a piece of history that can change your life forever. And here's the final truth. The 2002 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is out there. Waiting. Hiding. In drawers, in jars, in wallets across America. And this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.